made out of sand, with a plethora of plant dyes and hand sewing, recycled from 1950s post office of Georgia Tech. I couldn't find 3D printers here that can print in this large format. It's only $8 from Japan. It's recycled from post-World War II US military tin. I will replace it. I'm working on a design myself. It stank a little when I received it. The artist sold it to me for $60. I couldn't believe it. It's a slice from one tree, 400 grams per square meter. It's way too heavy for me. I don't know if it's a right choice. They don't use this kind of stone here. I have it made for $51. It's my favorite alabaster lamp. It's been scratched and damaged. This is crazy. I'm scared that I don't have enough budget for this. Even though I have been an architect for 10 years, and I also design and make furniture and products, I never really made an effort to decorate my own home. 7 years ago, my bedroom looked like this, and I didn't have money or time to do too much. 7 years later, moving into this new apartment, I have a bit more budget. This is the first video documenting how I decorate my home with a lot of designs and builds of my own. I know things could get complicated when you design furniture from the ground up, but still, I didn't prepare myself for the unexpected, crazy things during this process of 8 months. It's going to be contrary to the style of my living room. Earth tone, wood texture with a touch of indigo blue, which is leaning into this organic modern quite a bit. It's the kind of style that works the best in creating the feeling of tranquility, if that makes sense. The IKEA curtain rod I installed when I moved in kind of flopped. I'm switching to a ceiling curtain track. They came at several sections. You do have to piece them together, but as long as you are careful, they can be quite smooth. I'm really proud of how little money I spent on this customized, solid cherry wood slab. I requested that the slab to be sliced from one tree because I find the lines when they piece the wood together look quite unnatural. I'm glad that the shop was willing to do that for me, and the entire wood slab cost $28. The unique touch is the curved profile, which is a nod to organic modern softness. I'm also making some other furniture with slabs from one tree, which I'll dive into later in this video. The rug is a washable cotton rug from IKEA. I didn't pair it with the anti-slip rug underlay. It's thinner than regular wool rug, but still not too bad. But you gotta be careful when you use a robot vacuum cleaner. It doesn't really work very well on it. This bedspread is 400 grams per square meter, probably one of the heaviest linen bedspreads in this size on the market. The substantial weight helps it drape better, and the thickness prevents it from wrinkling too easily. For linens, the thicker and heavier it is, the softer it feels. I'm going for this oversized bedspread look. If my bed is lower, it will drape more to the ground, which is better, but currently, I am okay with it. I was really intrigued to find out that this pillow cover is undyed, which means it's the cotton's natural color, also completely hand-woven. But it stank a little when I received it, probably because of the undyed cotton yarn. Maybe going all natural is not the best. The smell went away after I put it under the sun for a couple of hours. The cool thing about this pillowcase is that it actually made both sides in the same fabric. It drives me crazy when manufacturers only use nice fabric on one side to cut cost. I saw this pillow at a store in Tokyo. The fabric is recycled from 1950s US military tent. It is a pretty cool concept to repurpose vintage post-World War II military supplies in occupied Japan, so I bought it. This apartment does provide a closet, but I still need a little clothes rack in the bedroom for convenience. I also want the clothes rack to be simple enough to go with any interior styles. I can move it around and put it anywhere. And this is what I ended up with. In terms of material, it's steel. It's good enough, but I wish Hay could provide a stainless steel version. In order to not make this entire room beige on beige, I use this throw that has indigo blue that comes from natural dye. In fact, the entire throw uses natural plant dyes, which have their drawbacks. Colors do fade after first wash, unfortunately, but I'm into this kind of vintage, faded look. The throw is completely hand-sewn and produced by a small studio in China. They don't sell outside of China, but I carry them in my own online store in the United States, which features handmade items by independent artists and artisans. I don't have the budget to buy big brand throws and pillowcases that are often seen on social media. I'm currently working on recycling leftover Loro Piana fabric scraps from Chinese and Italian clothing factories to make some pillowcases and throws for my living room. The labor cost to sew these pillowcases is $3 each, but the fabric itself is where most of my money is spent. For a piece of 1.5 meter by 60 centimeter heavyweight Sobiati linen fabric, which is 484 grams per meter, I paid about $39, and that's enough fabric to make a pillowcase. Keep in mind that these fabrics are not supposed to circulate on the market, but it's a big industry trading these leftover fabrics, so you have to do your own research to find reputable dealers. Stainless steel baskets are used for some underbed storage. These are pretty well made and very versatile. I use them to store clothes I wear regularly, otherwise they can get dusty. This is a heavy-duty metal file cabinet I got for free. It's one of those things that don't look the nicest, but get the job done. It holds so much stuff. I pair it with IKEA storage boxes and they fit perfectly. Currently, I'm on the fence of getting rid of it or not. It's inoffensive and utilitarian, but it would be more appropriate to be put in a home office or garage workshop. This is an upcycled hand-sewn mat I purchased in Japan for $33. It can be used as a floor mat or table mat. They use cotton and linen scraps only, which is awesome. The color palette matches the throw I got from China. I use this marble slab as a tray. The stone pen holder is from China. The stone is qingshi, which is widely used for Chinese sculpture and architecture. It's not used very often here in the United States for home decor though. It's very nostalgic for me. This hand-thrown ikebana vase cost me $8 from Mercury, Japan. The seller said it's from her dad's collection, who was a professor of flower arrangement and ikebana. My toxic trait is that I believe I hit jackpot, and this is made by a renowned Japanese ceramicist. I know I sound delusional, but if you know anything about it, leave a comment. This is a vintage stainless steel letter tray by Royal Copenhagen. The subtle curve is a recurring element in the decoration of this room. You will see more in the rest of this video. This piggy bank is also an upcycled item. The maker recycled the 1950s brass door from the post office of Georgia Tech. It's one of the earliest combination lock designs in the United States. He made a walnut wood case for it, which is pretty nice. I also got a walnut wood storage box and a tissue box to match it. I bought this sandblasted Manzanita branch 5 years ago for my vining plant, but my plant died and now this is used as a decoration. This solid mango wood nightstand only cost me $50 from Facebook Marketplace, which is an okay price for its quality. It is not something I want to keep around for long. Like the cherry wood shelf, I personally don't really like to see the lines when they piece wood together. So I'm currently working with a craftsman in China to build a nightstand that I designed using cherry wood slabs from one tree. It is still in the workshop. I'm very excited about it. And the whole thing cost $202, which is not too expensive in Chinese standard, considering everything is handmade by him. I specified an interlocking design at the edge and a soft close. I also commissioned him to make a headboard. Luckily, he did have one last cherry wood slab from North America that was sliced from one single tree, and it's wide enough for my requirement. Because the headboard doesn't require much design and technique, he quoted me for $189, which includes shipping to my personal warehouse in Guangzhou. I'll talk about it more in the future when I receive them. This lamp I purchased is an alabaster stone lamp. I bought it in Zhongshan, where 50% of the world's lighting fixtures are made here. That's where you can get a fair price for lamps. For this lamp, the manufacturer imported the alabaster stone from Spain and handmade it in 2 weeks for $51. I really like how the stone emits the light. I asked the manufacturer to make 2 more stone lamps that I designed myself. One is $84 and another one is $193 because it requires much more stone, and each is carved from one stone. Both are being polished in their workshop. Stay tuned for future updates. I saw that CB2 has this teak wood tree trunk stool and I loved it. But I couldn't afford it, so I found a similar product on Taobao, which is also solid wood tree trunk. But they use the most affordable wood species, pine wood imported from New Zealand. They make the tree trunk into dozens of shapes and designs, so many to choose from, and the price is just amazing. And I contacted the manufacturer and customized another one in a different shape with the dimensions I specified for my living room, for about $112 in total, which I will talk about more in a video for my living room makeover. The only drawback is that solid wood is very, very heavy. This is from my favorite artist, Alex Wings. I purchased my very first original oil painting from him. He sold this for $60 to me and I was really happy about it, and I bought a couple more from him ever since. Like this one. And this one. This one as well. He's very talented. Please go and check him out on Instagram. This is a 3D printed lamp from Studio Luna. I was really interested in Whoosh Designs lamps, but I need a bigger lamp than what they offer. I find that most of the commercially available 3D printers used by designers and artists here in the States are too small to print large format objects. I have to look overseas. Studio Luna offers really large 3D printed lamps. Their floor lamp is about 1 meter tall, but I didn't get that one. The one I get is half meter tall table lamp, the right size for my nightstand. The owner of Studio Luna is an industrial designer. He designed the wooden shipping case for the lamp as well. Very well packaged, very impressive. This solid elm wood stool is a remake of classic Chinese stool. It reminds me of my childhood. The steel cabinet was bought from Temu, but I need it for storage and I'm planning to replace it in the future when I save more money. I found this cast aluminum hangers on Xiaohongshu and loved the sturdy design and the premium material. However, the polished aluminum often comes with the residue of the polish compound. Make sure to wipe them off before use. This is a 3D printed sand planter from RYK. It's solid, heavy, and substantial. In China, sand 3D print is used for sculpture quite often, and I find it porous like terracotta. I haven't seen this material being popular in the United States yet. The design is heavily influenced by Alien series. This planter is one of my favorite purchases from China. Okay, this makeover is an ongoing process. There will be more videos coming in the future documenting how my bedroom changes over time. Besides the nightstand and the lamps I designed myself, and the headboard made from one tree, there is an entire wall that I'm currently working on decorating with furniture designed by myself. And I'm filming this to see how far this journey can go. I would talk more about how I get my designs manufactured, how I lowered the cost, and how I collaborate with craftsmen and solve technical problems during the process of making the furniture. There are probably questions about why a lot of things I mentioned in this video cost so little to make. I mean, if you do business in China or know a thing or two about manufacturing and the supply chain, you know that the price I mentioned are fair prices, or even slightly more expensive than it's supposed to be because it's retail price for Chinese consumers. The same products sold outside of China will be subject to a series of factors that affect the price: the shipping, the tariffs, the tax, and the profit for importers and exporters, which usually ends up in twice to 10 times more than the price in China. I have a personal warehouse in Guangzhou, so I can commission a lot of customized furniture and decorations from Chinese craftsmen and artists, get them shipped to my warehouse, and then shipped to my home in Texas in a container. For a person like me who couldn't afford customized handmade furniture by artisans and artists in the United States, this is the only way that I can afford them. Especially in a time that the dollar just doesn't go as far as it used to for just about everything. It feels nice to create something for myself. That's the exception to the rule. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions about designing, sourcing customized furniture overseas, pricing, or about shipping, leave a comment.